Founder of the Middle East diaspora Diaspora Studies at San Francisco State University, who's also suffered repression from the the Zionist administration of San Francisco State. And this is a university professor who has been very much involved in Palestine. She's a Palestinian professor. Thank you, Dr. Rabab Al-Luhabi, for joining us at the UPTE University Professional and Technical Employees strike here in front of UCSF. Unfortunately, one of the major founders of UCSF is the Helen Diller Foundation. So I will turn around and show there's people here there's different activities going on. And it's been kind of hard, to tell you the truth, to make sure that our union members could be informed about what's going on in Palestine, because our union, unfortunately, our union leadership, unfortunately, is not has practiced marginalization, unfortunately. But here we are, and we have here our table, UPTE Members for Palestine banner. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yes.
And
thank you.
We have books, different books here about Palestine for people to read. And we have a long list of different flyers and articles having to do with Palestine here. We also have a list of honorary, a list of memory of doctors and other healthcare workers who were killed. And we're planning on reading out their names very soon. Unfortunately, it's not a complete list, as you know. And we're covering a lot of different issues here, you know. We have a timeline of attacks on healthcare for Palestine. So please, I'm sorry for taking up your time. I want to introduce you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa, and I am so honored to be here with you, members of UPTE and AFSME, UC workers who are on strike. This is the third day that you're doing your teach-ins, and you are striking at several campuses, and basically against the unfair labor practices of the management of the University of California systems that are not treating workers fairly. And basically the universities are actually wealthy, but the treatment of the workers is very unfair, and the workers are striking, and I'm in total support and solidarity with you. Before I continue, of course, we acknowledge that we are on stolen, unceded land of the Ohlone and Ramaytush people. San Francisco State University is likewise. I also remember the fallen in Palestine and throughout the Bay Area and everywhere around the world who have given their lives, including many workers who have struggled in order for us to have these rights that we have now, that are being taken away, but we are struggling for them. In terms of what's going on in Palestine, first, we are aware that the Israeli genocide against the Palestinian people, that is armed, that is funded, that is fully supported by the United States government, with the weapons, with political support, with unconditional support at the United Nations, everywhere, has reached almost 50,000 Palestinians martyrs, as the lowest in conservative estimates, or more than 100,000 injured. We do know that at least 10,000 people are still missing under the rubble, and that is due also because Israel is not allowing heavy equipment like bulldozers and other digging equipment to dig, to at least take out the bodies of the people who have been buried under the rubble due to Israeli bombardment and tank bombings, to be freed from under the rubble, so their families can bury them in dignity and arrive at peace. So we have no way of knowing how many people are missing. Among many of the people who are missing, many doctors, many medical staff. We are aware that many doctors continue to be actually held in prison, have been tortured. We do know several doctors, including Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, who is the doctor of the Kamal Udwan hospital, who refused to leave his patients, and he refused to leave his hospital until he was arrested. by Israel, and he is not accused of any charges according to the Israeli intelligence and military itself, but he has been subjected to over 50 days of solitary confinement. He has an enlarged heart muscle, he has many ailments, and the Palestinians have demanded that he would be released in prisoner exchange. However, Israel refuses to release him, and the only crime he has done is to take care of his patients and to do his job. He himself has been shot. He has lost his own son, and he insisted on calling on the word to come up and to help him carry out his Hippocratic oath, to help people to heal the wounds, to take care of the injured, to take care of the people in the hospital. We do know that many other doctors, like Dr. Ghassan Abu Sitte, who was reporting to us from under the Israeli bombing, and he told us about what happened at the Angelical Hospital, told us that he was operating sometimes with vinegar because there was simply no anesthesia. He had to operate and he had to amputate limbs of children and of grown-ups without any anesthesia, because that simply was the case, because Israel was not allowing even simple medical supplies and food and gauze and things of this sort to come in. Israel continues to refuse to allow that to come in, even though this is part and parcel of ceasefire agreement that Israel has signed, that was supposed to be guaranteed by the United States government, by Qatar and Egypt, in order to facilitate the exchange of prisoners, Israeli hostages, and bodies of hostages, as well as Palestinian prisoners. And Israel has been violating continuously and preventing Palestinians in Gaza to be able to build, to be able to receive building equipment, to be able to dig under the rubble. We also heard this past week that at least 7 Palestinian babies have died due to the freezing weather. And this also is part and parcel of the Israeli policy of genocide, supported and aided by the US government, that has sent another shipment of arms to Israel, and that has supported Israel. And Trump himself has said that Israel can do whatever it wants, and Israel the US government will support it. And babies are freezing because there is not enough fuel to come in to heat the areas of Gaza to provide. There is a need for at least 200,000 tents that is in the agreement that Israel has refused to carry out. And there is a need for prefabricated homes that have not come in. Very few numbers have come in. And this is the situation in Gaza itself. I also want to make sure that people are aware that the genocide is not only being carried out in Gaza, it's being carried out in the West Bank. There are at least 40,000 Palestinians who have been displaced from their homes in refugee camps that were constructed after 1948 in the Nakba, which is Palestinian catastrophe, when Israel was founded, in order to kick out Palestinians and create something called a land without a people for the Israeli settler colonial regime on the land of Palestine. And people in the Jenin refugee camp, in Nur Shams refugee camp near Tulkarem, in Tulkarem itself, now there are also attacks in various refugee camps near Hebron, in Al-Arub, near Jericho, in various other places, in the Nablus 3 refugee camps, in Nablus city itself, my own hometown. There are attacks all over the West Bank, with tanks coming in after even refugee camps have been completely attacked and people have been kicked out. And the Palestinians who have been kicked out from the refugee camps, in which I want to emphasize they are refugees from 1948, and they want to return to their homes, to the pre-48 Israel, to Palestine, to Palestinian areas from which they were displaced, have been displaced, and there are tanks that are attacking, and there are bomber airplanes that are attacking, and the Israeli military and the Israeli government itself, the highest authorities in Israel, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israel Katz, all of them are saying that we are going to continue to attack the Palestinians. This is not secretive. It's not secretive documents that we're saying. They are saying that every single day, again and again. And there is continuous attacks on Lebanon continuously, even though there is an agreement of ceasefire in Lebanon. Israel is violating it every day, and they are trying to set up colonies in the south of Lebanon, and there are attacks on the south of Syria also, and Israel is attacking the Syrian capital every single day, even though there is a truce agreement since 1973 war between Syria, Israel, and Egypt. Israel is not respecting any borders, and Israel is attempting to engage into something it calls the broader Israel, greater Israel, and to quote unquote remake the Middle East the way it wants it, with the full support of the United States government. This is why it is really essential for everybody, for any peace-loving people, for any human-loving people, including people, especially in the labor movement, to stand up and stop the United States imperialism and aggression, to stop Israel's genocide, and to stand with the Palestinian people, with the Lebanese people, with the Syrian people, with the people in the region and the people around the world, and to stand up with the people in the United States and say that we are not going to accept any money from our tax dollars to go to kill Palestinians, to kill people in Sudan, to kill people in Congo, to kill people around the world, which also Israel is actually sending weapons. This is the best industry of Israel that is known, is to export weapons and military and killing machines. If we know anything by now, we know that the best thing that Israel has succeeded in this war, it failed in everything else, but it has succeeded to be defined as the killing machine number one anywhere. This is the thing that Israel has excelled in. Israel has not succeeded in anything else except to be known as as an instrument of genocide and killing, and the United States is supporting it as well. And we demand that our tax dollars are going for jobs and education. Jobs, our own jobs are in jeopardy. Our own jobs at the UC system, our own jobs in the CSU, California State University. For people who do not know, UC is University of California. Our jobs are being threatened. Our colleagues are being fired. Our union colleagues in the union staff unions, our colleagues in the faculty unions, our students are being suffering as a result of rising tuition money. They have to have multiple jobs. This is not acceptable. It is not acceptable to spend our tax dollars on weapons, into killing machines, into expanding the pockets of the billionaires of 1% of the world, instead of spending it on jobs and education, instead of killing machines and occupation. In our own union, the California Faculty Association, and in our own caucus, the Palestine Arab Muslim Caucus, PAM, of the California Faculty Association, along with our colleagues in many caucuses in the union itself, have already passed a resolution to demand exactly money for jobs and education, not for war and occupation. And this resolution has passed almost unanimously in the assembly of all the union, not only by the caucuses. We drafted it, all our comrades in the various caucuses have agreed with it, and we passed it in the assembly, and we are calling on all our colleagues to join us and to support us in the UC system. And your own struggle is so important. It is so important in order to demand rights for workers, to be able to live in dignity, to be able to live in peace. We come together according to the union slogan of an injury to one is an injury to all. So we are not only standing aside from outside of your union, we are with you in your struggle. Your struggle is our struggle. Your struggle is our struggle as union members. Your struggle is our struggle as Palestinians. Your struggle is our struggle as part of the indivisibility of justice. When you win, we win. Your struggle is our struggle to stop the vicious and nasty corporations like the Diller Foundation that we know that has funded the Canary Mission, that has funded Zionist organizations that are trying to block the truth from being known about what Israel is doing in order to stop people from knowing the truth about what's going on, because they want to stop folks from understanding what's happening and the genocide Israel is doing, and pretending that Israel is actually a victim when it's victimizing the Palestinian people, the Lebanese people, the Syrian people, people in our own region, and people around the world who are being attacked every day in and day out, by the military weapons that Israel is sending all over the world, whether we're talking about throughout Latin America and the Caribbean, we're talking about throughout Africa, we're talking about throughout Asia, and we're talking about the software and the military and software industries, the digitalized industries that are not very far from us in Silicon Valley and so on, that are used to detect the facial recognition, that are being used in Palestine, for example, at the cross point, are used to identify who are the Palestinians, who are also used to identify the students, the young people who are protesting at the encampments on campuses, are used to identify the protesters elsewhere. And also, there is also the other various things like the various projects that are coming out from Google, from Apple, from other places that are enabling Israel and other killing machines around the world to kill people, death squads, and so on. This is really important for us to make sure that we stop, to divest from all these military industries. We cannot allow our own campuses, our own universities to engage in producing killing machines when we are trying so hard to produce knowledge for justice in order for us to learn and co-learn and transmit to our future generations the history of oppression and repression of this country, the United States, as well as Israel and other settler colonial regimes, of what has happened in the world, of conducting genocide against indigenous people all over the world, including indigenous people in Turtle Island, Palestine, South Africa, Puerto Rico, anywhere around the world, as well as the kidnapping and enslavement of African people. Last week, we commemorated the Day of Remembrance again, the Day of Remembrance where Japanese people were rounded and placed in concentration camps during World War II. And now Trump is invoking the same law, enemy alien, in order to detain and hold people who are quote unquote undocumented in camps all over the country, or put people in planes and ship them to other countries in order to rid the country from people who are being labeled in very nasty, offensive, racist terminology due to xenophobia and racism and chauvinism that this leadership of this country is doing. So we have multiple struggles, and the multiple struggles at many levels are not something that we are unable to do. There are struggles everywhere, and our people are struggling on the union front, as you are doing. They are struggling in order to make sure that you are doing your job as one of the campuses that has one of the best medical schools in the world, that are demanding that the medical school follows its own mission of the Hippocratic Oath to deliver medicine to people, not enable the university leadership to invest in war and destruction, not to allow the foundations to increase their billions and billions and enable the investment in war industries, but to stop that and invest the funding and invest our dollars and our tax dollars in where it is necessary. Invest the tax dollars in jobs, in education, in medical supplies, in providing better knowledge about how do we improve the world, how do we change even the medical industry from a treatment to preventive medicine, so we can actually improve the lives of our people anywhere around the world. This is our mission for justice. This is what we need to do. We come together as people who are struggling for all rights. We come together to demand the destruction of colonial borders. We come together to demand the end of colonialism and genocide. We come together to demand an improvement for all the lives of people who are working around the world. We come together to demand an end of xenophobia, an end of racism, an end of repression, an end of treating people with suspicion because they are advocating a mission of justice. As for me, and I'm going to only say a couple of words, we at San Francisco State have struggled for a very long time to build the Arab and Muslim ethnicity and diaspora studies program, at the center of which is teaching Palestine, teaching about Islamophobia, teaching about Arab and Muslim communities, as part and parcel about teaching for justice, and teaching about all the oppressed and colonized people of the world, and producing excellent, top education for our students. We will not stop doing that. We will not allow the university's neoliberal administration that is in has intimate relationship with Zionism, that has actually considered Zionism to be a legitimate movement and so on, to go on. We're not going to allow that. We will continue to struggle for that. We will be standing against it. We will not be silenced the same way that you are not silent about the rights of workers, the rights of union members to organize, to stand up for justice, right in the streets of San Francisco, as you stand up for justice for the rights of Palestinians who are surviving and fighting against genocide. We stand together. An injury for one is an injury and for all, and we are united. Solidarity forever. Thank you.